You are not lazy. If you were lazy, you would not feel this guilty for being tired. You wake up exhausted. Not physically, mentally. By the middle of the day, your focus is already thinning. By the evening, even small decisions feel heavy. And nothing dramatic happened. You slept. You worked. You did what you were supposed to do. So you start blaming yourself. Maybe you lack discipline. Maybe other people just handle life better. Maybe you are simply not built for this pace. But what if that exhaustion is not weakness? What if it is the predictable result of a system that quietly drains your attention, your decisions, and your mental energy every single day? If someone calls you lazy, the insult lands fast because it sounds simple. Lazy means you have time and energy, and you just refuse to use them. But what most people call laziness is something else. It is a very specific kind of mental exhaustion that looks, from the outside, like a character flaw. From the inside, it feels like friction. You sit down to start. You open the laptop. You reread the same line. You check a message you do not even care about. You stand up to get water and forget why you stood up. The strange part is that you can still do some things. You can scroll. You can research random topics. You can help someone else with their problem. But the moment the task belongs to you, the engine refuses to turn over. That mismatch is the clue. Laziness is consistent. It is relaxed. It does not feel like resistance. Mental exhaustion is resistance. It is your brain protecting itself from a cost it cannot afford. And the cost is not only effort. The cost is attention, decisions, self-control, and the constant need to switch roles in modern life. You are not failing to try. You are running a mind that is already over budget. Picture a normal day. You wake up and, before you move, your brain starts calculating. What time is it? What did I miss? Who is waiting on me? What did I forget? You get ready while answering a message. You choose clothes. You choose food. You choose which tasks to ignore. You choose which version of yourself to be. Professional, pleasant, productive, calm. You arrive at work or school or a home office, and you do not begin one clear job. You begin a stream. A tab opens. Another. A calendar alert interrupts. You start writing and then remember you forgot to reply to someone. You reply, then notice another notification. Then you go back to the draft and the tone feels wrong now. The moment is gone. Later, you promise yourself you will get serious. You clean a surface. You reorganize a folder. You watch a video that feels like preparation. You do a small task that provides a clean finish. Then you return to the real thing and feel strangely blank. Your shoulders tense. Your eyes skim. You read the same email 3 times. You cannot decide what to say because every option creates a new problem later. So you delay. The delay creates guilt. The guilt creates more tension. And by the end of the day, you have the quiet shock of realizing you were busy for hours, but nothing feels done. That is not a moral failure. That is a pattern. It is what happens when your brain is asked to do high-level control all day, with no real recovery. The mistake is thinking the problem is a missing trait called discipline. The real problem is that your mind is responding normally to an environment that keeps demanding control, while removing the conditions that make control possible. Here is the first reframe. The issue is not that you do not want to do hard things. The issue is that you are stuck in a cycle of constant self-management. You are not only doing tasks. You are managing yourself doing tasks. You are monitoring your performance, your tone, your speed, your priorities, your image, and the consequences of every choice. That hidden work is what drains you. And it leaves an open loop. If this is what it takes just to start, what will it take to finish? Mechanism layer 1 is attention splitting. The kind that does not feel like distraction because it happens inside the same hour. Modern work forces rapid switching. You move from a message to a document to a meeting to another message, and each switch leaves something behind. Research on task switching describes a leftover pull of the previous task. Part of your mind stays with what you were just doing, especially when it was unfinished or when you expect you will have to return to it quickly. That leftover pull reduces the attention you can give to the next thing. So you try harder. You push. You reread. You tense. The task feels heavier than it should. This is why your easy tasks win. They have clean edges. They close. They give your brain a clear before and after. The hard tasks do not. They are unbounded. They ask you to decide when good enough is good enough. They ask you to create structure out of nothing. And in a day filled with switching, your mind starts treating unbounded work as a threat, not because it is scary, but because it is expensive. It will not just take time. It will take control. And control is the resource you have been spending without noticing. Now the rhythm breaks, because this is the turning point. Watch what happens when you tell yourself, I should be able to do this. That sentence feels responsible. It feels adult. It also becomes a weapon, reflective anchor. You are not behind because you are weak. Identity reversal. You are behind because your life requires a level of mental switching that the human brain was never designed to do for 12 straight hours. Hidden layer tease. The exhaustion is not only from tasks. It is from the invisible stress system that keeps your brain on alert. Immediate escalation. And the more you judge the exhaustion, the more your brain spends energy defending itself from your own attention. Mechanism layer 2 is chronic stress load, the kind that does not always feel like panic. It often feels like tightness, restlessness, irritability, or numbness. Your brain is built to predict what comes next and prepare your body to meet it. When demands keep changing, the brain cannot settle. It keeps scanning. It keeps forecasting. It keeps running background calculations. What if I forget? What if I disappoint? What if this goes wrong? Over time, that constant preparation creates wear and tear. The body stays slightly activated. Sleep becomes less restorative. Small problems feel larger because the system has less spare capacity. This is why common fixes fail. People try to solve mental exhaustion with harsher pressure. They add stricter schedules, tighter routines, higher expectations, louder self-talk. That approach can produce short bursts of output because stress can temporarily sharpen focus. But it also increases the background load. It adds more monitoring, more self-surveillance, more internal noise. The person becomes efficient at pushing and worse at recovering. The next day, the same task feels even heavier, and now it comes with a memory. Last time I forced this, it cost too much. The result is a trap. The more you need willpower, the less you have access to it, because willpower is not a heroic switch. It is a function that depends on sleep, stable attention, and a nervous system that is not constantly braced. Now zoom out. Modern everyday life turns the mind into a switchboard. You are reachable all the time. You are asked to respond, not just work. Many tasks are not physical or visible, so your brain never gets the satisfaction of seeing clear progress. You do cognitive labor, emails, planning, remembering, coordinating, deciding, rewriting. You also do social labor, staying polite, reading tone, managing impressions, absorbing other people's urgency. Even leisure gets mixed with demands because the same device that relaxes you also delivers new requests. There is another quiet factor: uncertainty. When goals, schedules, and expectations shift constantly, the brain treats the environment as unstable. In unstable environments, it becomes rational to conserve energy. That conservation is experienced as procrastination, avoidance, and I cannot start. Not because you lack ambition, but because your system is protecting itself from unpredictable costs. So the final reframe is this. What you call laziness is often your brain refusing to spend executive control on a task that has become linked through repetition with overload. Your avoidance is not random. It is targeted. It appears most strongly around tasks that are unclear, socially risky, or impossible to finish cleanly. Your mind is not asking, "Do I want to do this?" It is asking, "Can I afford what this will take from me?" Once you see that, your behavior changes meaning. The half-finished projects are not proof that you do not follow through. They are evidence of a system that is constantly interrupted. The piles of small chores are not proof that you lack priorities. They are proof that your brain is chasing closure, because closure is the only kind of rest it can reliably get. The scrolling is not simply distraction. It is a low-cost way to keep your attention occupied without the risk of failure, conflict, or endless decision-making. Here is the quiet ending. If you have been calling yourself lazy, you have been mislabeling a signal. The signal is mental exhaustion. It shows up as resistance, not because you are broken, but because the part of you that manages effort has been used like a disposable tool. You can keep interpreting that signal as a personal flaw, or you can recognize it as data about the true cost of your days. The most unsettling thought is not that you are lazy. It is that you have been functioning in a state of steady overload long enough that it feels like your personality. And once something feels like your personality, you stop questioning the system that produced it.